Welcome you to His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj's daily call. We are so glad you are here. Today, Guru Maharaj will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th Canto, Chapter 3, verse number 44. Maharaj, my apologies. I have lost my glasses, so I'm squinting at the screen. I will pull up Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th Canto, Chapter 3, verse number 44 in a second.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yannamadeyam Mridayamana Atura. Atam Sakalpa Ishvasogrinam Pumam. Vimuktakar Margala Uttamam Gatim. Prapnoti Yakshanti Natam Kalo Janaha. Okay. Translation. Terrified about to die, a man collapses on his bed, although his wife is faltering and he is hardly conscious of what he is saying. If he utters the holy name of the Supreme Lord, he can be free from the reactions of his fruitive work and achieve the supreme destination. But still, people in the age of Kali will not worship the Supreme Lord. One line purport. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. People are so foolish. What they need is in front of them, but they won't accept it. Next verse. Umsam kala kritam doshan dravadesatma sambhavan sarvaharati chitrasto bhagavan purushottamaha. In Kali Yuga, objects, places, and even individual personalities are all polluted. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, however, can remove all such contaminations from life of one who fixes the Lord within his mind. Text 46. Shutam sankirtino dhyatyam pujitas chatrito piva irnam dunoti bhagavan ritsto janma yusatsubam. If a person hears about, glorifies, and meditates upon the worships, or simply offers great respect to the Supreme Lord, who is situated within the heart, the Lord will remove from his mind the contamination accumulated during many thousands of lifetimes. Yatahemnem stito vanihar ruvanam hatidatujam evam atman gato vishnur yoginam masubhasayam. Just as fire applied to gold removes any discoloration caused by traces of other metals, Lord Vishnu within the heart purifies the minds of the yogis. Although one may practice the mystic yogic system, his actual spiritual advancement is due to the mercy of the Supreme Lord within the heart. It is not directly the result of his austerity and meditation. If one becomes foolishly proud in the name of yoga, his spiritual position becomes ridiculous. Omagan Sumadandasya Gena Jana Salakaya. Chaksuun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pustaya Bhutale. Shri Bhakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pacharine. Never say Sasunyavadi Paskatyade Satarine. Vanchakopa Tarubhischa Vipa Sindhu Pe Vachan. Titanam Pavane Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita describes the different stages of yoga, the different types of yoga. And it's given the title the Yoga Ladder. As the ladder has a series of rungs that go up to the higher level. So the yoga system is understood in the same way. There are many types of yoga. But then again, there is one yoga that is the complete and the culmination of all yoga. As Krishna describes in that chapter, and in previous chapters, he talks about karma yoga, performing activities and offering the results of the fruit, some of it, and jnana yoga, drilling the respiration, practicing various types of prayers and austerities, studying the scripture, detaching oneself from all material activity. Jnana yoga. And then you have the Ashtanga yoga system, yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara, pranayama, dharani, dhyana, and samadhi, the eightfold mystic system of yoga, which gradually elevates one to the process of absorbing the mind on the super soul within the heart, visualizing that super soul within the mind. That particular system is not practical in this age, although Krishna explains that system. Srila Prabhupada gives the purports according to the acharyas and explains that it's not possible in this age that people can perform all of the principles that make up the Ashtanga system, which means going to a secluded place, sitting on deerskin, facing in the northern direction, and controlling the mind through the breathing process, pranayama, positioning oneself in a lotus type position with eyes half closed, and gradually meditating on the form of the Lord as visualized within the heart until that form becomes fixed in one's mind. No one can do that in today. There are some yogis who are able to do that, but they live in the Himalayas and they can practice that system. But very few of us who live in any other environment can even begin to get any advancement in that system. Therefore, it's not recommended in this age. So at the end of the 6th chapter, Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten atmanaha stradavam bhajate yomam te me yuktatamo mataha. After describing all of the yoga systems and the succession of these systems as they lead to higher and higher levels of God realization, he ends by saying, but that yogi, one who abides completely on me, in me, worshiping me with devotion, is most intimately united in yoga and is the perfect yogi, the highest of all yogi. So that is the process of bhakti, which is the culmination of all yogas. Nowadays, most people who practice various types of yoga systems will practice the Ashtanga yoga system, which is also part of the mystic yoga system. No, I'm sorry, not the Ashtanga, but they practice the asana part, which means controlling the breath and controlling the different postures and fixing the mind and controlling the mind through asana. But they don't fix the mind on anything. They try to make the mind devoid of all kinds of thoughts, and it's not possible. You have to think of something. You can't think of nothing. If I ask you to think of nothing, it's quite opposite. You can't think of nothing. To think means to have an object to think about. So they attempt in an artificial way to control the mind. And ultimately, Aruna Krishna Padam Padam Padantiyadam. They fall down again back into the material pool to take up material activities. So many yogis, they can climb up to a certain level in the yoga system. And the yoga system is designed in such a way that there are so many rules, regulations, restrictions, and principles that one must strictly follow in order to get the benefit of each of the stages of practice of yoga. And one little error in the execution disqualifies one for any further development. But in bhakti, bhakti means love and devotion. And of all the activities of the living being, the living entity does things, they work, that's called karma, they do things, they perform activities. They meditate, they speculate on philosophical teachings, that's called jnana yoga. Or they meditate on various types of objects, and that's called Raja Yoga, or meditation on various objects. They also try to meditate on the Supreme, but it is because they're not fixed in devotion to the Supreme. This verse explains from the 10th chapter, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, they fall down again because of immature development. Therefore, one who worships the Lord in devotion, Ayabila Sita Sunya, Jnana Karmananavatam, Anukalena Krishna Senam, Bhakti Uttama. He makes advancement to the goal of life. And what is that? Karma is rejected, jnana is rejected, and to focus on all activities for the pleasure of the Lord with a desire to please the Lord. Focus on the Lord with a desire to please the Lord is the means by which one can execute perfect yoga. And when Krishna is pleased, he elevates the consciousness of the practitioner automatically. That means they can think of him easy. Devotees want to think of Krishna and they want to do something to please the Supreme Lord. If it's very simple to understand in practical day-to-day life, because you live in the world, what is the purpose of what is the goal of all activities is to develop satisfactory relationships with people in this world, whether they're friends, family members, or people in general. And so relationship is the basis of the principle. And when that relationship is based on concern, giving happiness to the object of worship or the object of relationship, that is called love. To please someone or to try to please someone is an expression of love. Or one develops love in that way. And so people going to work or doing things doesn't necessarily bring you to love, although they can help. philosophical speculation, reading different books, doesn't give you love, but it can help. And meditation on different objects can help, but it doesn't give you love. Only when you try to please the Lord by offering activities for the pleasure, according to those activities which are recommended by the Lord himself and given by the spiritual master. Not that we can do anything and that will please the Lord. Although the Lord is pleased by the activity, and he is not so much pleased by the type of activity, but by the mood of activity. Still, the spiritual master knows the heart of the Lord, and therefore he can understand, serve the Lord in this way. And that way you will be able to make advancement in understanding your relationship with the Lord. But the basic principle is to try to please the Lord. And the Lord is pleased by sincere effort to please him. But we have to follow the instructions of his representative in order to execute the activities in a pleasing way. So there are many yoga systems, and all of them have a position somewhere. Of course, modern day yoga, whether you see in these yoga studios, is really mostly gymnastics, trying to improve one's physical situation or trying to increase one's ability to have better sex life. So people practice yoga for these, this is their goal. So it's not really yoga, they call it yoga. And nowadays, if you go online, you can find different kinds of yoga. And it's all centered around one material activity. They even have this thing called beer yoga. I don't know if you saw it. They take a can or a bottle of beer and they put it on their head and they do different postures. And then they're supposed to balance that bottle, a can of beer on their head while they're doing different postures. And then every once in a while, they take a sip of the beer to give them, a little enthusiasm in the activity. So, it's quite ridiculous what goes on in this age. This is Kali Yuga. The most ridiculous and most absurd activities go in the name of yoga in this age. But we don't call that yoga, we call that, somebody's brain speculation, the speculation of the restless mind. But bhakti is very nice. As we mentioned in the previous verses we read today, chanting the holy names of the Lord and glorifying the Lord, welcoming the Lord into your heart, seeing the beautiful deity of the Lord, offering prayers to that deity, praying the Lord, please give you the devotion so you could worship him nicely. Ask him so many things. How can I please you? How can I increase my love for you? How can I become more detached from my material life? There's different things we can pray to the Lord. Prayer is one of them. Vandanam, it's one of the 9 processes of bhakti. So bhakti is not just done in one way, it's done in 9 different ways. And the most important is through the process of Shravanam, or hearing about Krishna. This process of hearing is the essence of all of the activities of bhakti, because it sets the foundation for everything we do. And it awakens within the heart the mood of devotion to Krishna. Maharaj Parikshit became perfect simply by hearing. Sukadev Goswami became perfect by chanting. Prahlad Maharaj became perfect by remembering. Krura became perfect by offering prayers. Ritu Maharaj became perfect by worshiping the deity. Lakshmi Devi is known as her perfection for serving the lotus feet. Hanuman became perfect for carrying out orders of the Lord, and that is called servitorship. Arjuna became perfect by developing friendship with the Lord. And Bali Maharaj became perfect by surrendering everything to the Lord. So these are the epitome of the examples that we have in the Shastras of perfect persons who perfected each of the 9 angas of yoga. Right. So, as Prabhupada said, any one of these 9 angas can give you perfection. But everyone must chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because Lord Chaitanya has endowed that particular process with all of his mercy, and is the way to become fixed in the practice of yoga. Mantra, glorifying the Lord by glorifying his name. So this is the process. And if we take this process regularly, seriously, take shelter of the devotees of the Lord and associate with devotees, go to the temple or set up a temple in your home. Well, go to the temple whenever you can and hear about the Lord, worship the deity of the Lord, offer foodstuffs to the deity, take that remnants as prasadam. Offer prayers to the Lord, becoming a friend of the Lord and surrendering everything to the Lord. The first 7 of the 9 processes are all inclusive within the process of sadhana bhakti. But friendship and surrendering everything, that's on the platform of spontaneous devotional service or Raganuga Bhakti. Okay, so I'll stop there, get a little bit of idea of this process of bhakti. It's so sweet, so sublime. It looks easy, but it's not easy because it requires determination, regulation, and detachment from everything else, all material activities.
My obeisances, Maharaj. So, dear devotees, we have just heard from His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj on this particular verses, 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 44 verse to 47. And Maharaj has outlined so many important points about the value of Bhakti Yoga, the 9 processes of devotional service, what passes off as yoga these days. There's so much to think about and so much to ponder over. So please feel free to ask your questions, clarify your doubts, or share your reflections. Thank you. Maharaj, while devotees are thinking of questions, one thought comes to me about how the present day yoga system, which is a parody of the real thing, how it is allowed to mushroom like this all over the place. Everywhere we go, we see all these varieties of gymnastics, yoga, which is holding your dog and doing yoga. I've seen that too on television. All kinds of ridiculous things go on. But how they are allowed to proliferate like this with nothing to check these activities?
Well, there are people who are speaking out against it, but still, this is Kali Yuga. Anything in the name of profit will become a fashion. People will think of ways to make money, take something sacred.
Apologies, I've muted them, Maharaj.
Yeah, people will concoct anything. This is the age of Kali. You have to see this is the age of Kali. Everything goes
Thank you, Maharaj. Shilpesh Prabhu, would you please go ahead?
Hare
In the,
Krishna.
in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that in this age, irreligion will be seen as religion, and religion will be seen as irreligion. This is the age. This for profit. People will do anything. They'll franchise. They'll make programs out of everything to make money. Well, it's a money-making scheme. There are millions. There's at least 30 million people, at least in the United States, that regularly plug into these different yoga classes. But it's good in one sense because we also see that it's an area for reaching out to people. And we come in with real yoga, saying, this is mantra yoga. And because we use the term yoga, they like it. And then we do kirtan. So we're taking advantage of their concoctions and giving them the actual understanding. And have become devotees because of that. Yeah. So it's a good field for reaching into.
Yes, yes, I see that now, that it's an opening which devotees can use. Thank you for the clarification. Shilpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. In the 9 stages of devotional service, am I correct in understanding we will go through in different times of our practice, we'll enter the different stages. It's not sequential, we'll drop in and out of different practices. Like one time we may be approaching the Lord through friendship, or one time through servitude. Like day to day, that can change.
Well, everything is based on servitorship, but it takes a particular mood of service. And that mood, sometimes it just comes by doing activities. Others becomes developing the friendship is more on the spontaneous platform. That is more of the later stages of bhakti. And Rupa Goswami explains the 9 stages of bhakti, and each has a particular characteristic which illustrates that particular stage. So, yeah, but if you're thinking in terms of the rasas, you seem like you mentioned the rasas, friendship, servitudeship, these are rasas. When you execute devotional service regularly under the guidance of a spiritual master, you gradually cut through the anarthas, and then gradually you start to develop a relationship with Krishna through the spiritual master's instructions. And then you serve in a particular way. And based on that, as that develops, you start to understand more clearly what is your relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. But that is in the 7th stage of bhakti, out of the 9 stages. First, we need to take shelter of a spiritual master. So these different thoughts and these different moods that come and go, they just what they are, they come and go, that's all. But only when one becomes more fixed in regulated devotional service, then a certain mood will develop internally. That comes naturally. But we can't fantasize or, imagine what is our relationship with Krishna. Even though we may feel some inclination in a certain way, until it actually becomes regular, until it's confirmed by the spiritual master, you can't say that is my eternal relationship. There's a process. We mentioned that many times, the process of Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous devotion. But we may feel a type of friendship towards Krishna. We may also feel a little conjugal feelings towards Krishna. But these are, when they come and go, they're just experiences that we may have. It doesn't stabilize our relationship with Krishna. Only when it becomes steady and regulated and confirmed by the spiritual master, then one understands, yes, this is my mood to serve Krishna in that mood.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, we need to take shelter of the spiritual master. That has to be given by the Guru itself. We can't just imagine our different relationships.
Was that satisfactory, Shilpesh Prabhu, or you have any further follow-up questions?
No, it's a lot. There's a lot to take in. I've got a long way to go in this journey. I've got a very long way to go. That's how it feels.
But very nice question. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your deep and thoughtful questions. Dear devotees, if you have further questions, comments, realizations, any sharing of experiences, please do go ahead. Maharaj, I'm just thinking about what you answered Shilpesh Prabhu about understanding our relationship with Krishna, and that we may have certain feelings or different feelings from time to time, but that's not the real thing. So how and when will our relationship become clear? At what stage of practice? Is it at Nishtha, or is it at Ruchi, or is it at Bhava? When do we come?
It begins, as is explained in the Shastras, it begins to develop on Ruchi and it becomes fixed on Ashakti. But that's a process. It's not that, unless you take up the process, you may get glimpses of it, but you won't be able to remain fixed in your sadhana. Hey, don't worry about that. Just chant Hare Krishna, dance.
Yes, Maharaj, certainly. We have a very long way to go. We're still struggling with anarth and everything. So, Maharaj, we have a question.
Until you get past that stage of anartha nivritti, then you can't really, only on Nishtha can you start really developing the mood of that.
Thank you. So here we have a question by Rishabh Prabhu, and I will read it out. Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev, I am thinking how we need to act on these points that you mentioned. Otherwise, we are just gathering information with no true realization, nor implementation, nor benefits, nor faith in them, becoming a smarta Brahmin at best. Just to point it out for us. Hope I got it right.
Yeah, don't worry. I told him what to do. He knows. I gave him some personal instructions. He knows what it is. Just follow that instruction I gave you and everything will be clear.
Any other questions, Prabhus and Matajis? If you would like to ask a question, now's the time. Feel free.
I have 5 minutes left before I have to leave. I'm in the middle of a festival here. So. Okay, we can stop here, and I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow or not. The festival continues for another full day. I don't think I'll be here tomorrow, but I will be here for Monday, and Tuesday I won't be here. I travel on Tuesday, but I'll be back on Wednesday. And then from Wednesday onward, it should be regular again.
So that means Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, you're not going to be available, Maharaj?
No, I said Sunday and Tuesday.
Sunday and Tuesday. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Okay, thank you all dear devotees for coming onto the call and being patient with this delayed start. My apologies for that. I hope that my internet doesn't give me a problem next time. And my apologies to you, Guru Maharaj. I don't know if you were also trying many times to join the call. I apologize.
You didn't make any mistakes. I was late.
Okay. Sorry about that.
You know, you were okay. Krishna used you to give me a chance to get here.
Okay. That makes me feel better, Maharaj. I'm so thankful to hear that. Deeply thankful.
True. True.
Thank you all dear devotees for staying on or coming on, rejoining the call. And we hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for wonderful class as always. Our humble obeisances to you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj. Thank you so
very
much. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you so much.
Shridev, I want to apologize for yesterday. I'm so sorry. I usually listen to the class afterwards again, just not to miss. And I heard that you asked me something. In that moment that you asked me something, I was downstairs to pick up the package because I was doing dry fruit garland for the deities for today. So I went down to take that and come back. It took me 3 minutes. Within that 3 minutes, you asked me something. So please forgive me. I just missed to be with the computer at that moment, I promise you. So please forgive me for that.
No problem. I just said normally Scarlett Mataji has a question.
I know,
and
I
so-
heard what you said.
Yeah, that's
I
all
heard
right.
what you said.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm so very sorry. I'm so very sorry. I didn't have any question. I listened to everything and it was nothing I could think of as a question. But within this moment, I went down and when I come back, so okay, I said thank you and then finished. Then I went back on the night to listen again because I sat and do garland and I was sat there and do garland and oh my God, she has talked to me and I was not there with that moment. So please
No
forgive
problem.
me.
It happens. I have no problem at all. I'm happy, in fact, that you made a beautiful dry fruit garland for Lord Nityananda. How wonderful and how merciful he is that you got that wonderful service. I'm happy to hear.
Yes, I'm so grateful for her. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.